Today we're going to go ahead and take a look at the new wireless gaming headset from Razer, being the BlackShark V2 HyperSpeed. And kind of briefing this up, what this headset is, it's the budget version of the Razer BlackShark V2 Pros. So in this video, I'm going to talk all about this headset. I'll compare it up to the V2 Pros, and we'll see, again, is this headset worth it, and where does it really sit in the space? So as far as in your box, of course, you're going to get your headset. You get your charging cable, which is USB-A to USB-C, and then now you get this HyperSpeed wireless dongle. Kind of looks like what you get with the mice, right, to get up to the 4K or the 8K. I'm not too sure why they changed this here. We never had connection issues before. This is kind of like what the previous dongles look like, kind of like your traditional, and now they have the one that looks like, again, like the wireless mice. Again, we never had connection issues before. So why are they doing this, and is this possibly causing issues? We'll talk more about this later on. But of course, we have to kick it off with comfort, and this is where you're going to see some differences, which we will talk about here as well. But number one, just looking at the headset, you probably already saw a lot of differences. Talking about this being the budget end, kind of like the V2X and such, right? Your headband is fully pleather rather than like on the Pros where you have that nice soft sports material, and then coming down here to the ear pads, you have that silky touch on the outside, pleather inside, pleather outside. Again, just like you see on the budget end of the BlackShark headsets. And these, again, they just change just like that. They pop out rather than on the Pros, they actually clip into brackets. So very nice. You can change out these pads a whole lot easier, but these pads are pretty darn nice, actually. They're actually very long here. If I say actually one more time, I'm probably going to go crazy. As far as the depth, can you guys see that there? Plenty of depth for sure, and then they are plenty wide. Now these pads are they're not firm, so let me catch myself right there. The difference, what I'm saying, is they are firmer than the Pros. These really are like a memory foam pillow. They definitely sink in a lot more, and you are going to feel your ears touching the inside of the drivers here, but you got that little bit of padding, so it's never been an issue as far as pain or getting pinched or anything. And of course, these are a whole lot more breathable. So a couple pros about these. Number one, I don't think many ears are going to be touching the inside of the drivers, but also with being pleather here and pleather there, you are going to lock in that sound a lot better, and you're also going to prevent any of that sound from escaping. Okay, so we'll talk a lot more about those pads later on down in the sound department. Let me get this back on. All right, so now that I got that ear pad back on, let's go on and fire up the scale here and slap the new V2 HyperSpeed on. We are getting 274 grams. Let's compare it up to the V2 Pros here. We're getting 330 grams. Okay, so that's with the mics. Now, the mic on this is permanently attached, by the way. I just want to see something with the mic off. 318. Did I see that right? So 318 even with the mic off, and 276. So I will tell you, in the hand, the V2 HyperSpeed, they do feel a little bit lighter, but when you take these headsets and you put them on your head, like, yeah, stinking cozy, like for sure. And going to the Pros over here, oh my gosh, one of the best in the game. The only one that can compete with this is like SteelSeries, but holy smokes, phenomenal. Both of them are incredibly stinking cozy, but I gotta say, the Pros, they do feel a little bit better. I love how plush these ear pads are, and then right with that headband, these, again, guys, I'm nitpicking, so don't think I'm saying these are uncomfortable. They are phenomenal as far as the comfort, but you do kind of feel them sitting on your head a little bit more. Now, both of them, they do have the traditional hinges we've seen on the BlackSharks here. Not that traditional swivel. Some people have called me out on this before, because you all know I love my swivel, but the BlackSharks, they're so maneuverable. They just flex into that shape of your head. So the point of swivel is to, again, close off those gaps. HyperX, the clouds and stuff, you have that gap back there. A lot of headsets do that. So you want swivel to conform into your head. So now the pressure is equally dispersed right there. I don't have any gaps or anything. That's what I love about these hinges. They just move perfectly. And again, it's the exact same as the Pros. So as far as comfort, hands down, phenomenal for sure. But as minor as it is, I still do prefer the comfort of the Pros. Now let's go and talk features and functions on a new HyperSpeed. And again, I'm going to compare a lot up to the Pros here. And kicking it off, number one, like you saw, the microphone is detachable on the Pros. Both of them include this nice big chunky windscreen, and they are both very moldable. Both mics are pretty much the exact same size as well. It's just a connection point here on the Pros that is a little bit longer, which will keep it sticking out a little bit more, because again, you're taking it in and out, but they are the exact same same length, so they'll sit in front of your mouth the exact same. Now, as far as looking at the volume wheel here, this is a little bit different. Hopefully the camera can pick it up. I'll pull it up a little bit so you can see. You see that little sheen coming off of the HyperSpeeds over here? They changed it up. First off, you got that little sheen, and then you got these nice little ridges on the side. I don't know, but I say it's like, I mean, they both feel great. I feel this one over here has these little, very light tactile steps in there. Like, you won't be able to hear it on a microphone, but they're very, very mild tactile steps. Over here on this one, it's just kind of like the firm kind of roll there. Now, going over to the side of the headset, and I'm going to leave the Pro sitting here so you can see. Pretty much the same, right? You got your microphone mute, the little button you press in and out there. You got your little light, you got your power button. Now the power button on the new HyperSpeeds, it is you got those little grooves in it, just like you have on the volume wheel. And then you have your USB-C port right down here also on the Pros. But a couple things you're seeing different. Number one, battery life is pretty much the same across them, 70 hours. But you're seeing this USB-C is recessed. Again, you got your cable right here for number one for charging, but you can also use these bad boys as USB-C as a audio source, and you can also charge them as you're using them. So really nice touch right there. Now coming over to the back side, yes, you do also have Bluetooth on these, just like you have on the Pros. It's not simultaneous. You kind of got to cycle through a double press to cycle from game mode to Bluetooth. Now let's go and get the microphone comparison here. Again, I'm going to compare it up to the Pros, but this is the V2 HyperSpeed version you're hearing here, and we're plugged up via the USB dongle. I am also going to run a Bluetooth microphone test just because I want to see what it sounds like. We'll talk about the Bluetooth issues here coming up shortly. But as far as BlackShark microphones, they have been phenomenal. Again, they include this awesome windscreen. The cool thing about BlackShark microphones is whenever you pull them away, it just drops off. Like I can see even in my graph that the sound will really reduce. As far as my room, I don't have any sound dampening. It's just a core room, which I think a lot of us will have right there. But I love how you can just pull them away. If like your buddies are like, hey man, you're breathing too loud, or hey man, you're sounding too loud in the microphone. Well, boop, just pull it down like that. You don't even got to go into the system to adjust the volume. But all in all, this is the Razer BlackShark V2 HyperSpeed microphone test. And now you're hearing the microphone connected straight up via Bluetooth. Our dongle is disconnected here. And by the way, as y'all know with my microphone test, I don't tweak anything. It's plugged and played at the core. That is what the microphone is. No software adjusting or anything. I want to see if we still get that nice separation. If we pull the microphone out, are we still getting that kind of great sound right here? Pulling up is picking up a lot more. It seems like the microphone's picking up a little bit more in Bluetooth. How is it truly sounding there? I did have some significant issues with Bluetooth, which we're going to talk about more in the sound right there. But as far as the microphone test, we tested dongle, we tested USB, and just for grins and giggles, I want to plug up the Pros and see how that microphone sounds. So now you're hearing the microphone on the BlackShark V2 Pros here. As we just heard, these connected via the dongle and Bluetooth, just again to get a comparison to see are they cutting corners on the budget one, or does the Pro one sound that much better? That's my only real test right here to see pulling this microphone out, how is it sounding right there. Now if we pull it in a little bit, we will see. Really cool that they included the windscreen, by the way. I know that sounds completely minor, but it's just something I love, especially for someone like me where my P's and T's really pop out there, you know. One really funny thing I want to mention real quick before as I just peeked, I want to tell you, like in the Pros, you kind of got like this really like accented English type woman talking, and then over here on the budget one, it's just a regular American type accent talking. Real funny that they actually changed that up. It's almost like, couldn't you just use the same that you had? I don't know. That was just a little funny thing I noticed right there. But all in all, this is the microphone comparison. So it's really cool coming off features and functions there, looking at the flagship headset and then comparing it up to the budget one and still packing the exact same features and functions as you're seeing over here. That is incredibly awesome. I really love seeing that. But there's one thing I want you to hear me out on as we're going to roll into sound, and I'm not going to sit here and harp on the sound of this headset a whole bunch. I'll briefly touch on it, but we are all very, very familiar with the sound of the BlackShark headsets. And yes, at the core, it's the exact same over here. It really is a great sound. Exactly what you get over here. You got the titanium Triforce drivers. Same thing. But I did have an issue with my sound, right? So you can go into Synapse and dabble with EQs. They'll save to the headset. You can cycle through them right on the headset. So if you take it over the console, really cool. Again, you got that Bluetooth, which you cycle through to Bluetooth or to the HyperSpeed there. Now, On my new HyperSpeed headset here, every time I fired this headset on, it would initially start off in a Bluetooth mode. That's even right out of the box, which is weird because most headsets, they'll automatically, you plug them in and they're going to try to pair up and sync up to the dongle. Pretty much always. But this headset wanted to start in Bluetooth, so it was weird. So I get in there and start dabbling with my stuff, playing around, right? And I'll test. Hey, ask my wife to give me a phone call. We'll test all that stuff out. But when I went over to Bluetooth, it almost tweaked the entire headset to like my guess. Again, I got nothing solid here because in Synapse it didn't adjust anything, or on my phone nothing adjusted. It's just whatever's happening within the headset. It almost turned the entire headset into like a voice clarity mode. Dropped all the bass, pulled out the highs, really reduced the mids. It sounded like I was on a phone call. So that really weirded me out. And I kept on trying to like nitpick and figure out like, where's this coming from? What am I doing wrong with my profiles? Let me make sure I'm tweaking it and cycling it through here. But every time it did it, but it did not stop there. Talking about the Bluetooth, I couldn't even accept a phone call on Bluetooth. When my wife would call my phone and we would test it, it wouldn't come through it. If I picked it up on my phone, it wouldn't come through here. It would just be on the phone, even if I cycled through it. So in my honest opinion here, we don't have a Synapse issue or a HyperSpeed polling. I think we have an initial setup, right? How it's syncing right to Bluetooth. And then at the core, a Bluetooth issue. Maybe we need a Bluetooth update. That's just my guess. Again, I can't figure any of that out. But with all of my extensive testing in different scenarios and different situations and stuff, it always seemed to be centralized around Bluetooth, right? Because at the core, if you're not messing with Bluetooth, you can hopefully get it back to the core sound, which you're closing down the headset, detaching the dongle, closing down Synapse. Sometimes it still wouldn't. It would still go back to that horrible sound right there. So it's very weird. I think this headset needs an update or something. I'm not too sure what's going on. I honestly think we're having issues with Bluetooth, and it's how that headset is initially registering as Bluetooth first. I think that's what it's kind of thinking. This is my priority, and it's setting it to like a voice clarity, a phone call type sound. I don't know. That's just my guess. So this is a weird segment as far as sound, right? Again, I don't need to sit here and harp as far as the sound quality of this headset. We all know what the BlackShark sound like. The biggest difference at the core, what you're going to hear is, again, it blocking out more sound and this holding in more of the sound due to the ear pads here. It's not going to give it more bass or anything like that. It's just going to hold it in there, not let the sound escape out a little bit more. At the core, when you get that sound to sound like it, you have that BlackShark sound, which again is awesome, talking about the flagship to the budget. But again, I wanted to really harp on that issue right there because it is game breaking at times. It really is. And it's absolutely frustrating to try to get it back to that sound. Sometimes I couldn't even get it back to that sound. So hopefully Razer fixes this issue. And at the core of this review, as great as this headset is and how much potential it has, it makes me giddy saying, yo, the budget headset has this much of the flagship headset. That is absolutely phenomenal. That is so cool to see. But I regrettably and disappointingly cannot recommend this headset. I say give it a month or two or whatever, and Razer will fix something up. I'll communicate with them and I'll continue to test this on my side. And once the issue goes away, I'll leave a pinned comment right down below just so you guys know, hey, that issue is nixed and we're back to good quality product. But right now, even though this headset packing what it's packing, even a fair price at $130, I love it, but do not buy this headset in its current state. So anyways, thank you so much for coming by and watching my review on a new Razer BlackShark V2 HyperSpeed, the BlackShark wireless budget headset, in other words, to put it there. I hope I was able to help you out, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit that thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and I hope I catch you in the next one. Bye now.